Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Patreon podcast. This week I wanted to talk about losing objectivity. And what I mean by this is just kind of losing the core or the general idea of the work that you're working on. And I have two different examples of this from from my direct life that I'm dealing with right now. And that's just the two albums that I've been kind of struggling with for the last year or so. One of this is losing objectivity by getting too close to a project, and the other is losing objectivity by getting too far away from it. So the first one, getting too close to a project, is Infinity Loop, which is something that I started actually like 3 years ago, and I kind of picked at it for a little while and just set it aside, but lately I've been trying to finish it off because I think that it has a really good point to it. But I've been focusing on this album and listening to it and revising the script because there's like a lot of voiceover in it. And I'm really struggling with it because I'm too close to the project now. I've heard it so many times that I don't have any like objective feelings about it anymore. And I know that like the distance of time will fix that. It's the same thing like with the 2-hour track challenges. By the end of the stream, I'm just kind of like, yeah, this song's done. I don't really know what else to do with it because I've been listening to it on loop for 2 hours straight. But you know, the next day or even later that evening when I listen to it again, it's like, oh yeah, this was cool. There's a couple things that I'd change if I had the time, and you know, I usually do when I revisit those when I post them to streaming. But it's just I get too close to the project. And because of that, I don't really have the ability to make those objective decisions anymore. It all kind of mushes together for me. And with Infinity Loop, that's the problem that I have. It's something that I've been working very closely on and I've been trying to finish. But I just have not had the ability to just like have an objective opinion about the songs. Like, I don't know if they're too loud or too quiet, or if the voiceover is too loud, or if like various melodic elements are too much in the song. And it's very frustrating because I want to finish this album. I want to get it out there because I think that it's important and it's a cool album. But I just don't have the mental ability to finish it right now. It's very annoying. And I'm getting there. Like I'm taking breaks, I'm listening to it, and then making notes with fresh ears and all that other stuff. So there are ways around this. And like I said, a lot of the problem with losing objectivity when you're too close to a project, a lot of that is just to take some time away from it. And you'll get back to it at some point. However, getting too far away from a project, that's a little more difficult. So last November, I started the album Let the World Forget Us, which came from a very specific point in my life where I was kind of fed up with a lot of the internet. I can't remember what exactly it's called, but I think in the European Union, there is that like the right to be forgotten or something similar to that, where it's just like you have the right to delete your information from the internet and it cannot be preserved anywhere. And I really like that idea. And here in the United States, that's very different. But I really got to thinking about how just ingrained our lives are with the internet, and how if we wanted to disappear, it would be a full-time job, just about. And it's not that I want to live in the woods without internet or anything, but I want to have control and agency over my presence online, and that's so easily taken away from you in ways that are not easy to predict. So when I started that album, I had a very specific mindset and goal for it. And I got pretty far on the album, but unfortunately I didn't really finish it to the degree that I'd like. And over time, I got distracted with other projects. 2022 has been an interesting year, to say the least. I can't believe it's halfway through September when I'm recording this. But over that time, I've lost objectivity. I've lost that mindset for that album. And there are flashes where I get it back where I'm just like, oh man, I should work on that. But I'm always in the midst of something else. So it's hard for me to shift gears. But just like losing objectivity in that way, being too far away from an idea is so difficult to like overcome, because it requires you to like work to be in a specific state of mind, or even like a physical location. If like that objectivity is about recording like audio in a certain place, or, you know, whatever. So I'm not entirely sure how I'm going to get back to that, because I absolutely love Let the World Forget Us, but it's also something that I have not been able to work on very much. Just because I haven't been able to approach it in a way that I feel does that album justice. So if anybody has suggestions on how to regain objectivity when you're too far away from something, please let me know. But for the most part, I think I'm just like working toward kind of understanding that mindset and maybe reconfiguring the way that I approach things a little bit. But, you know, it'll get there. I'm not worried about it. Either way, that's pretty much everything I wanted to talk about on this time around. It's something that's been on my mind a lot lately, specifically these two albums, because I really want to get them done, just because I don't like things hanging around. Like they tend to just kind of cloud my brain, and I just want to get things out and done and released. And I have not been able to do that with these because I don't have the objectivity to finish them in a way that I'm happy with. So, you know, it'll get there. And I'm like 99% of the way done with Infinity Loop. I just need to clean things up, really. But it's that objectivity where it's just like, I listen to it, I'm like, is this good? Is this album as a concept good? And you like, I lose all of that like inner critic, and it's hard to sort out what's right and what isn't. Anyway, I just kind of wanted to talk about this a little bit, because I think this is something that a lot of people experience, but it's really hard to like put into words and convey properly. So hopefully this, you know, gave you a little bit of insight as to maybe your creative process and maybe some of the blocks that you've been facing lately. So thank you so much for being a Patreon supporter. I really genuinely do appreciate it. I hope that you have a fantastic Friday and a wonderful weekend, and I will talk to you in the next one. Be remarkable.